The Apple event is in like 3 or 4 weeks, but we already got our first look at the camera, quote unquote, AirPods that we've been talking about for a while now.
I like this because you said official leak, and arguably it couldn't be more official.
It could not be more official.
Because Apple leaked it.
Apple leaked it. So,
which is awesome. Wait, this is like exciting. We don't get this very often.
It's never happened. Someone at Apple is getting more than fired. Let me just say that.
Yeah, but like everything on Twitter was, most of the things I saw about it weren't even about the AirPods. It was just like, this is fun again. Like this feels like 10 years ago where we got like random leaks of things and we were all excited.
And the cool thing too is it's not like a random leak where we didn't know where it came from, right? Like when leaks happen from Google, they feel very planned. You know, it's like, oh, it leaked. Oh, we gave this to a leaker. But when you find things in the system files, that's when it's very fun. So in the macOS Tahoe release candidate 26.7, which is funny because it's not Golden Gate. It's actually an older version of macOS that is a release candidate. There was a video file that was demonstrating the new AirPods with visual intelligence. Now, the video did not seem color graded or like done at all. It might have even been like a test video. I'm not sure. It also seemed very green skewed, like not a polished video like we're used to seeing from Apple.
If I remember, the audio felt really... Can I play it real fast?
Yeah, sure. You can play it.
With visual intelligence, your world becomes savable. See something you like? Just ask me to save it for later.
Doesn't that feel like very...
It feels robotic.
It feels like placeholder.
Yeah, it feels kind of placeholder. So what's happening in this video is there is a man who picks up a book, and he has these longer stemmed AirPods Pro. They kind of look like AirPods Pro, but their stem is almost the length of the original AirPods.
The electric toothbrush
The electric toothbrush top. And they look a little bit silly. I mean, I think every new version of the AirPods looks a little bit silly until it eventually gets normalized. But he picks up a book, and basically, based on this voiceover, it just says, just save it for later. So what we assume is happening is the AirPods are sensing the book. They're sensing the text. Whether or not that's through an infrared camera or through a regular camera, we're not sure. I really do not think that Apple is going to put standard cameras in these AirPods where you can just take photos of your world, because they are the privacy company. It would piss a lot of people off. They're going to have to do a significant amount of public relations and marketing to make people feel better about these things, if they even possibly can. Because whether or not it is an infrared camera, it is still a camera.
Still a camera. And Meta's out here just really screwing up public perception of cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Wait, but if you can look at a book and tell it to save it to later, that's not infrared, is it?
Infrared can still...
detect text like that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I don't know.
No.
That'd be a good sound clip. I don't know. We just don't know enough about these yet. But a regular camera, I think, would be a huge mistake from Apple.
I'm looking at an infrared camera, looking at like an AC unit outside, and it can read the text on the thing.
Yeah. So
that is the depth of my knowledge of infrared cameras. One Google search.
In my opinion, this would be the best bet for Apple. But yet again, they're going to have to make people feel okay with that.
They have to call it a camera, no matter what.
Yes.
Which is tough.
Look. Will they?
Well, they'll call it a sensor.
Yeah.
They'll call it an infrared sensor. Technically, a camera is a sensor. A sensor is a camera. But I think they're also going to have to do a lot of work to just say, these are just for visual intelligence. You can't ask it to take a photo. You can't ask it to do this. Either way, I don't know. Having these in your ears is kind of tough. Now, I can see why Apple wants the future of their AI products to just be their existing products, right? AirPods and the Apple Watch are pretty much the best quote-unquote AI device you could have because you're already wearing them. The best way to integrate new technology into people's lives is to put it in existing things that they use every day, and a lot of people use AirPods all the time. Also, allegedly, if hair is covering the AirPods, you will receive an alert that asks you to make sure that they're not covered because, you know, if you have long hair or...
Presumably only when you ask it the question.
When you ask it the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it would be very annoying.
Yes.
It was just...
What is this for?
Well, luckily we have none of the answers and only speculation. So,
but what would you use it for? I mean, like I have Google Lens on my phone and I barely use that. And sure, when I use it, it's super useful and cool. And it's like, whoa, that's a thing I can do. But do I need this on my headphones?
Yeah. So you can now lean down to that dog that person's walking, not ask them the question, say, what kind of dog is this? That was a callback to a previous.
What kind of dog is that? Yeah.
No, I don't know. There's things it could. I get the idea of like save this for later. Or like the fact that he's looking at a book in his house and saying, let me look at this later is kind of weird. Maybe it's not his house. But if you're at like a library or a coffee shop that has books, it's like, oh, add this to my list of something I want to get later. Or like, I could see that being a thing. I'm not trying, like, I don't think I would ever use it. I kind of think these are silly, and I cannot imagine the price tag on these. I can only assume a significant price increase with this.
Feels like a bit like a solution in search of a problem.
Yeah. Or like a shareholder tactic of
too.
like, this looks good for AI and we're incorporating it into other products of our things.
That's everything though. I just feel like this isn't, like to David's point, this isn't a user behavior thing. Like as a person walking through a library, if I see a book I like, I take a picture of it. And it would be more useful for the Photos app to then know that I took a picture of the thing, pull the image, be like, hey, there's this thing, blah, 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 when I ask it, what book did I see last Tuesday? But like, do I need that in my headphones? I feel like that's overkill.
Yeah, the question also becomes, do you have to explicitly ask it to sense the world around you, or is it constantly developing context? That's the other question.
Which would mean constantly recording.
Audio, and Apple will be like,
audio as well.
Recording.
Yeah.
Well,
like, because it would need to know, like, when you say require context, my guess would be like, if I'm having a conversation with you and something I say is like, oh, I really like that watch. Like, is it going to be like, oh, it likes this watch, I see watch. Do I record that context?
I was thinking more of like, where did I leave my keys?
Which is still constantly recording.
Yeah, I
to
think
be able to know where that
Apple
is.
would probably make some talk. Apple would probably say something like, oh, we take frame data every 10 seconds, but we're not really storing it anywhere. And
no, we're just sending it to
we're encrypting it. And
we're
yeah, I don't know.
Where they're watching it.
There's so many questions.
It would be funnier if it just went, you should really have an AirTag on your keys.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of the Sony Link Buds, and their whole pitch was like, keep your headphones in all the time, and you don't have to take them out because they've got a hole in the center of them. The original Link Buds, remember? Mm-hmm. And they just like wanted you to keep your earphones, wireless headphones, wireless earbuds. They want you to keep your earbuds in all day, and it feels like Apple also kind of just wants you to keep them in all day.
Yeah, to Adam's point of like, is this something a user would do? Is it safe to say now that a lot of tech companies, in order to try and get ahead, they're taking so many risks on not what the user's currently doing, but it's our job to tell the user what they should be doing, and that's how we get the forefront of
I feel
things.
like Apple has done that a lot.
I'm going to tell you how to use this. You're going to then see that I'm telling you how to use it. I'm going to think that's a cool way of using it and maybe spend an extra $100 on a thing that I already own.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but
Apple does have a history of being able to tell users what they want, but whether or not this is a hit is going to be a long shot.
Yeah, the cameras on things are going to be I think the tough thing.
It's just the wrong time, guys.
Yeah.
It's not the right time.
What's funny is, just going all the way back to us saying this video might not be fully finished, is somebody posted what the where it's located in the build, and the MP4 file is called B790 save for later. Which really makes it feel like a placeholder thing. Like almost everything about this feels like a really well shot placeholder, but nowhere near Apple quality of
the video. I mean, the background's blown out, and we would normally never see that. But it is August. September is right around the corner. At least the design of the headphones and the structure of the headphones is probably set in place by now.
Yeah. So. It's fun because we haven't had like an Apple leak from Apple themselves, and that part's really fun. It's dystopian that it's earpods with cameras in it.
Yeah.
AirPods with cameras in it.
I think what's going to happen here is that people are going to get very angry, rightfully, because I don't think anyone wants more cameras that are constantly recording them when they don't know about it. And then it's an Apple product, so people are going to buy a lot of them. And there's going to be a normalization period where this does eventually normalize. I don't love that.
Yeah, I do think I do not like defending Apple here. Like, because of the fact that this presumably will not have I can record I can be a creep record on it.
Yeah.
At least then publicly it might be a little more normalized to wear into a private establishment.
Yeah.
Like, that's not quite as bad. You still, as a person, should be worried about Apple themselves tracking what you're doing and or saying. But it doesn't seem to have creep capabilities on it yet.
Creepabilities.
I will not take that away from them at some point in the future.
And hopefully these don't get hacked, which they probably will. Okay, in this release candidate, we actually also got a bunch of other references to other unreleased products, including one of Apple's new Home Hub products, both the one that goes on the wall and the one that goes on the table, listed as J490 and J491. There's allegedly a new Apple security camera that we've talked about before. The Pebble Home OS operating system. It's probably just going to be called Home OS, but it's called Pebble internally. The AirPods with cameras, new Beats headphones, AirPods Pro 4, which it's interesting that they're being listed separately from these. People were calling the ones with the camera AirPods Ultra, which Ultra is just the general name people say when it's an unannounced
Yeah, I think that's hard with AirPods Max because it makes it feel bigger than AirPods Max, which nothing is bigger than AirPods Max except for maybe the headphones Ellis is wearing right now.
That's true. Yeah,
it would be weird to go AirPods Pro, then AirPods Max are over ear, then AirPods Ultra are earbuds again.
Yeah. There were references to the iPhone Air 2, the iPhone 18 series, including the foldable, new MacBook Pros, new iMacs, new iPads, a new Vision Pro was also listed in there. Could have been a placeholder.
Or like a chip update maybe?
Or it could have been while they were working on the cheaper one, but then they scrapped. I don't know. Whatever's happening there. And then a new Apple TV. So that should be interesting. That's a lot of products that they're allegedly working on. And it's interesting that they're all in the release candidate, which means we are probably going to get a lot of products this year, if not this year and then into spring.
Yeah. I mean, it is like notoriously iPhone, iPhone AirPods Watch will probably be September event, and then they like to do some Mac stuff in like November.
They do Mac stuff in October, November, and then do like iPad and back to school stuff, and then the E series in the spring.
Yeah, and then spring.
There are actually a lot of Apple events through the year now. We don't think about that. We used to think about the fact there used to be like one big Apple event in September. Now they're pretty spaced out. But that leads us into our next little story here, because the standard iPhone 18 might not launch until next spring. So there are now, there's a new report that is claiming that the iPhone 18 standard edition is going to launch in March of next year. This report came from Minchi Kuo before, but Pegatron, as we've talked about various times on this podcast, an Apple supplier held an annual earnings call and indicated that one of its customers would be changing its usual smartphone shipment schedule. And when you have to tell your investors during an earnings call that your shipments are going to go down significantly for this quarter, you kind of know it's Apple.
Right?
Yeah, it's the Clicks communicator. Wow, that's a dig. You clearly know that that's Apple. So that makes it seem like Apple is going to be pushing the standard 18. And I have maybe a hot take. I actually think it makes sense from the company's perspective to launch the standard models later, because they've been launching like the E gets launched later, right? Mm-hmm. But if you launch the Pros first and you give it, 5 or 6 months before the standard models launch, that would entice a lot more people who might have just gotten the standard one to get a Pro because they want the new thing. And the thing is, the standard editions of all of these phones are getting better and better and better to the point where why should you get the Pro is becoming a very common question.
I agree with your hot take as a capitalist.
Yes, I'm saying I'm saying from Apple's perspective.
I'm not saying I'm a capitalist. Strike it from the record. I'm saying to make as much money as possible.
Yeah,
you are entirely correct.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. From Apple's perspective, I feel like it makes sense to be like, if you want our new stuff, it's only the Pros, and in 6 months you can buy the cheaper one.
And for that entire 6 months, you'll be on our website looking at them, dreaming of them, realizing that it's just a couple $100 more bucks.
Yeah.
Just a couple smackers.
Yeah.
Just press buy.
Yeah.
The best way to get people to buy stuff is to constantly be back on the website and add it to the cart and then forget and then think about it.
Yeah.
And then come back and then think about it.
Yeah.
Again.
This also lets the colors of the standard iPhone be the big story when they come out. It's not like some new feature that there's on the Pro. Like, the Pro gets all the feature, blah, 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 and then you get to be like, ooh, pine cone or whatever they're going to do.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a hot take, but an irrelevant take, possibly. If this happens, Google is pumped because last year we kept comparing them to the base iPhone with the base storage issue. They did a price increase this year. Their best shot to be like, guys, see, it wasn't that bad was the new iPhone base to release with a price increase as well at the same storage. And they could be like, see, now they have to live potentially for like 6 more months of being like, this is a shit deal.
Yeah.
So I think,
even though the standard Pixel is $899 this year, if there is no matched iPhone and the cheapest iPhone comes in at like $1,100 or $1,200, the Pixel is actually still going to look like a good deal.
Yeah.
Everything's expensive.
Everything is expensive. I hate that it makes sense to launch it with the E. I always have said I think I get really confused with Pixel and A series where it's like the Pixel 9 comes out and then the Pixel 9a comes out later and the average person comes to me and says, should I get the new Pixel? What new? The Pixel A. It's like, no, it's worse than the one that just like it's worse than the one you have.
Yeah.
Like this is confusing.
That's true.
If anything, the cheaper stuff should come out first. So every time it is new, it is better. But by doing this, especially by naming them the same numbers, the new thing winds up actually being technically worse.
Yeah.
And I think that's a weird, confusing way of doing it.
Yeah.
And some of the Apple users might be to the point where they just say new iPhone and literally buy a worse phone later on.
This is true.
Which is bad.
Yeah. Allegedly,
good for Apple,
the iPhone Air 2 is also going to launch alongside the standard 18.
That is
and the E.
weird to me.
Yeah. Well, they sort of positioned the Air as like alongside the standard iPhone as like, oh, you want the standard, but you want the thinner standard one.
And it went more expensive.
Yeah. But yeah, more expensive, but it's also like way more premium, you know?
I know. That's why I think it makes more sense. If they were going to switch regular to the E release in the spring, it makes it feel like September event is like best in class, shiniest, coolest, which I guess iPhone Air 2 is probably just going to be updated iPhone Air that we've seen already. So it's not that jaw dropping anymore.
Yeah.
So what we think we're going to see Pro Max, Ultra, which presumably is the foldable, AirPods with spy cameras, and then new watch.
Yeah. I mean, we should be getting a new Apple Watch. There's so much stuff.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of stuff this year. It is strange though, because the iPhone Air 2 is like, the iPhone Air is just generally one of the most premium iPhones. I think that because the 17 was the tick of the TikTok cycle and it kind of changed the way the iPhone looks a little bit, and the 17 Pro is one of the best-selling iPhones in a very, very long time, they're very worried about people actually wanting to upgrade to an 18 because it's not going to look that different. And so I think if they isolate the 18 alongside, there's the 18 and then there's the Fold, which costs like $2,300. I think the 18 starts looking like the 18 Pro starts looking like a pretty good upgrade for some people.
I don't remember exactly. I think it was Mark Gurman posted a picture of a case from OtterBox, and on it said compatible with iPhone 17 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro. Oh. So like either they made a mistake or they think it is so similar that it would fit in the same case.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. I don't think anything is going to significantly change on those phones.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
I think the rumor is that there's going to be a variable aperture on one of the cameras, but maybe it's not thicker because of that.
Yeah, so. It's already got the giant camera bar, the plateau on it.
The plateau.
Yeah.
The plateau.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. David, a little bit ago, you used a term that is such deep Intel ball knowledge. Like, I had never heard it before. Can you explain what the TikTok model is? I literally had to Google it to know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. So the TikTok model of technology is usually that you release like a very big kind of foundational update one year, and then the next year, instead of changing the design, doing something like that, you basically release the same design but with like incremental upgrades,
like the S series iPhones.
Yeah, like exactly. Like Apple used to do the iPhone 7 and then 7S, or like 4 and then 4S, and so the second year would always just be like, oh, we added this like incremental feature. But now they don't do that anymore.
Well, Wikipedia says that it actually comes from Intel. Because
Intel.
What they would do is they would shrink a die size and then use an old microarchitecture. And then they would improve the microarchitecture on that shrunken die size. Then they would shrink the die size with the old like they would alternate whether they were improving the die or the architecture.
Yes. I was going to use that as an example, but I think people are tired of hearing me say that I used to work at Intel.
Did you used to work at Intel?
Can I give
David, what was your first job?
Can I give some context to potentially our younger viewers as to why it's called the TikTok?
Because you have to dance.
Because it has nothing to do with the app. In fact, clocks
Grandfather.
before they were on our phones. Tick tock, tick
Yeah,
tock. That's the noise they made.
that's true.
This feels like how I'm going to have to describe the save button to
When I
people
used
in
to
the future.
use calculators, we had this thing called the TI-84. No, I'm just kidding.
What do you mean used to? We still got that.
That thing
It's a
still,
beast.
and it's probably still $140.
It is.
or like
It for sure
whatever
is.
it used to be.
Yeah. So yeah, it was architecture and then architecture improvement.
Sorry about that tangent. Just you said
No.
You said the TikTok process, and I
fair.
was like, the what?
That's fair. That's a fair question. Anyway, yeah, we'll have to see what that happens. It's coming up really quick, guys. We're ramping right into we're into Tech-tember here.
I'm going to make a bet.
Bet.
This is my prediction.
Okay.
Do you know how they do pre-filmed videos for Apple events?
Yeah.
Shot on AirPods Ultra. That would be
Just
crazy.
like,
It's all in infrared.
Every now and then, like hair gets in the frame.
It's all in infrared, so you can just see heat, and that's it.
Dude, picture the shot of an AirPod falling out of someone's ear, just like No, not funny.
Oh, you
All
mean
right,
in-
everyone-
from the camera?
everyone- no one's
Wait,
laughing.
would
Like
that
the
actually be
POV
part
shot?
of the feature though? Is like, oh, I lost my AirPod.
It's here.
It
You can
looks
get
like
a
it's
live.
in your couch cushion.
You can get a live stream of where it is. That'd be funny. No, I highly doubt that.